Hello and welcome. My name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up, and you can find more information about the projects that I create on my blog at www.stampingwithhart.blogspot.com. So I have a free project sheet for today's cards. This is a fun fold called a Latch fold card, and we are going to be making this Latch fold card with a Little Latte Suite, as well as some alternate ideas for you that I think will tie in beautifully with this suite. This suite is an online exclusive product, meaning that you will not find this in a catalog. This is exclusively on the stampinup.com website, but it is definitely a suite that I do not want you to miss. I am late to the party in terms of demonstrating with this, but I think you're really going to love the ideas. Better late than never, right? This last card here that I am showing you is for those of you who, like me, are waiting for those fall handcrafted drinks. And so this just has a total autumn vibe to it. So this is where we're incorporating some other product in addition to the Little Latte Suite. So these are the cards that we are going to make today. So we can go ahead and get into this. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. If you give the video a like or a comment or a share, any of those things will really help this video get seen by other people. Okay, so let's talk about the A Little Latte Suite, or the Latte Love Bundle, depending on which option you choose. And you can, of course, also buy the products individually. What you're seeing here are the dies, and I went ahead and cut those out. I like to use a reference sheet. It just gives me a good idea of what I'm working with over there. And I recommend that to anyone, especially if you want to get familiar with your set, and then you'll have it as a reference as you need it whenever you're crafting. This is a trim. This is a polka dot trim. This is really hardy, actually. So it's pretty firm and stiff. Like, you can tie a bow with it, but I didn't really like that. I prefer to do other things with it. At least in this video, I would use it a little bit more simply. We have designer series paper, and we also have these swirl dots. They're adhesive back swirl dots in 3 different colors. Very creamy. They almost look like miniature candies with the way that the swirl is on the top of each of those. So those are going to be a lot of fun to use. This is part of the suite option, by the way. If you choose the A Little Latte Suite option, that includes the stamps, the dies, the DSP that I'm showing you here, the trim, and also the adhesive back swirl dots. So look at this paper. Is this paper fabulous? Oh my gosh. I do think that the stamp set is absolutely incredible, but oh my goodness, the ideas that you can, and the fun that you can have with this DSP. So this is the A Little Latte DSP. Now, these are all online exclusive products. And what I'm showing you here is that this die will actually cut out those cups, those coffee cups on the DSP. And there's a circle die as part of that set that will actually cut out what's inside the cup, just in case you want to match a different color cup to the swirl that's inside the cup. So you can do that in either the stamped version or the paper printed version. And the reason that I'm referencing back to the coffee beans on the stamp set versus the coffee beans on the paper is because once you run out of the consumable pieces, which are like the paper and things, you can make your own DSP later on down the line. Great detail with that. Now, if you look at this plaid, I'm filming this August. I should say I'm doing the voiceover on August 5th. So it is still summer, and that is summer plaid if I have ever seen it. So if you want some really fabulous summer paper, or you want to make some quick and easy cards using this designer series paper, If you use the reverse sides, you'll see it all throughout the paper. Oh, this is a different mug. So we have several different mugs between the paper and between our stamp and die options. And I just wanted to see if that cut that out, and it does not. But don't worry, because it does cut out the stamped mug. And you'll see that as we go along. I'm not going to actually die cut that out today, but I did want to let you know, at least for the sake of this video. So we have swirls and we have sort of latte patterns here. I think that paper would be fabulous for Valentine's Day too, actually, because you're always giving, you know, coffee or chocolates or candies or something like that. So that would be really cute. And so here you can see that Calypso coral side. Okay, so here's that other circle die. I was just very curious. I was like, if I wanted a different pattern or if I wanted the darker coffee, could I switch it with my mug? Because I do think about things like that. And the answer is yes. And I was just measuring these out, and you can see that this circle die is measuring just about, I think, 1 3/8 was the final measurement on that. And then here, the one with the coffee mug that has like the actual end piece on it was just under, I think, 2 1/4. And then this die right here, 2 inches, and then off to the side, I'm trying to see this on my viewfinder, and it is small, just over 2 inches. So you can get a feel and a sense of the scale and the size of these, and it is wonderful. So here is our latch fold card. This is the card that we're going to be making in real-time speed together, because I definitely don't want to rush through this so that you have all of your steps. Isn't that fun? I found this card, this latch fold concept on Pinterest, but I modified mine just a little bit. And I am going to be bringing in the nested essentials dies as well to use on the front of these cards, this sort of rounded edge rectangle here that we're looking at. So that's from the nested essentials dies. And I had cut out one of those mugs from, or one of the coffee mugs from the DSP. And oh my gosh, I mean, it's so vibrant, isn't it? So this particular card is a Lemon Lolly card base. This is cut 5.5 by 6.5 and scored at 4 1/4 inches. Lemon Lolly is one of the coordinating colors in the DSP. This piece here is 3.5 by 3 1/4 inches. We're going to score at 2 3/4 inches on the 3 1/4 inch side. That's why I have that little arrow and that note there. So that you'll see where that score line is and how that folds in. This is our first DSP piece, which is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. If you want to substitute just basic white on the inside so you can write a larger note, you can do that. But I wanted to showcase DSP on this particular card. This is cut 2 by 5 1/4 inches. This piece is 2.5 by 3 1/4 inches. That is going to become the layer for our fun fold, or I should say our latch fold element. This is 2.5 by 3 1/4, and this is actually going to go behind the latch fold. Okay, and that's where we're going to have our little note, right? So that's where we're going to stamp our little greeting. And then you need something for the latch to latch into. So you want to have a die. I would recommend, oh, and these are my die cut coffee mugs, by the way. I cut several of them out. And you can play with these however you want. And we're even going to be using partial mug images, which I'll show you in a completed card later. But I just wanted to say, you want to make sure that whatever die cut you're using on the front of your card has enough to it that there is something to latch, that there's something to latch onto. And I did do my fold several different ways. Like I did that front latch. I did it horizontally and vertically. So you'll get to see the difference there. But I will say that the layout that we're going to do for this card, this is a tighter fit, meaning the card closes tighter, which I really like. So here are all the pieces that you're going to need. You know, you can cut a piece of the basic white cardstock out of that nested essentials die. That's the largest of the rectangles. There's 4 of them, and you'll get to see layers as we're going into this, like the slightly smaller layer here. But those are the pieces. And then if you want to have some trim, you can set your trim off to the side. It depends on how you want to do this. So here's what I decided to do, and here's what I'm going to show you guys today. So we're going to put together the summer version of this card because I felt like it was appropriate for August. I love plaid. I love plaid for every season. I love plaid in just about every color combination. But we are going to do the reverse sides. Okay, so all the same exact paper pieces, but I'm just flipping the sides over so that you can see it in the coffee patterns side. Okay. So in the end, you're going to get to see multiple samples, but we're going to play with this. We're going to have some fun with this. So there is the summer version of the card right over there to the left. These are the same exact pieces, just the reverse side. So if you want to call it side 1, side 2, or side A, side B of the decorative paper, it's totally up to you. Listen to me, decorative paper, designer paper. Okay, and then we're going to put that on the inside of our card. So you can really have fun with this. You can do this however you feel is best. But this is one of those things where I feel like I don't do this enough. I would like to show you both sides of the same paper on a card so that you can see how versatile it is. So where we scored at that 2 3/4 inch mark, that little flap that's left at the score line is what's going to become the part that we tuck behind our designer series paper. If you want to use your basic white cardstock, totally fine. Same concept, right? It just depends on how large you want the note to be. This type of card is more about the fold. So I would either put, an insert behind this card if you want to write a full note, or most people don't do that. Most people just have the little greeting stamped in there. They write the name and they sign off on it, and that's the end of it. So anyway, I am using my Stampin' Seal Plus. And here's the important thing about this. It's very easy to forget this step. Now, the good news is a lot of times you can, fix your little boo-boos or anything like that. But we're going to put our adhesive on the outside edge of this flap. We're going to line it up. So for me, I had a hard time just putting that flap down to the cardstock. I wanted to line it up with my DSP first. So that's the way that I'm going to present this latch fold to you. And then, of course, the card on the left, let me just say, I put my latch fold a little bit lower, and it's lined up like right with the bottom edge of the DSP versus what you're seeing me do right here, where it's up about 1/4 inch. And I like it up about 1/4 inch a little bit better. I just feel like you can see it better. I like the placement better. I think it just aligns better for the latch on the front of the card as well, like when we put our outside panel down. So that's just something to be aware of there. Okay, so I'm using my multi-purpose glue here. I think multi-purpose glue is actually fine for this fun fold, but if you want to use a stronger adhesive, I think this is a strong adhesive actually, but if you want to use something like Stampin' Seal Plus or your Tear and Tape adhesive, those are two really strong bonding adhesives. And I do usually recommend stronger adhesives for fun folds, but I used my multi-purpose glue for, it was either 4 or 5 different versions of this card, and it was fine. It was fine for all of them. And on the one version of the card, oh, don't you just love this coffee bean pattern? I mean, is that just so much fun? Now, this was hard for me because I love plaid, and I really didn't want to use the reverse side. I didn't want to use the reverse side of it, so I could have just stamped my own version of coffee beans, but for the sake of showing you guys the versatility of the designer series paper, right? Okay, and then in terms of stamps, we're going to pull a couple of stamps from our Latte Love set here. These are photopolymers. They're clear. They're great for when you're trying to do a design layout and you just want to lay it down. Here, what I'm trying to see is if my greeting that I want to use is too large for the size of these die cuts on this rectangle. And I decided no, it was great. It looked fine. So it says, hello there, let's get together soon. I'm pretty sure that's what it says. And for me, I wanted 2 coffee cups. I really wanted you to be able to see both coffee cups there, to indicate that it's an invitation to someone, essentially, like, hey, let's get together soon. And I really feel like I've gotten out of touch with a lot of people. And I do feel like a lot of times the reason why I'm sending a card is for those standard reasons like birthday or thank you. And I really get out of the habit of sending cards just because, sending cards to say hey, sending a card to invite somebody to coffee. Here you see me laying out the trim. So this is real time. This is me just trying to figure out, okay, what's my layout going to be? Where am I going to position my die cut and everything. So we'll see it come together in just a second, but we're going to go ahead and start stamping. I'm going to be stamping in early espresso ink for our greeting here. And I will correct myself on what our stamp says. It says, hello there, let's catch up. So there's a different one that says, let's get together soon. I think that's from the other set that I use. Oh, look at this coffee stain stamp. Is this not the coolest thing? Okay, so here I wanted to see what it looked like if I stamped it off one time and just had the early espresso be a slightly lighter color. So you can decide if you want to do that, full color or not. But I feel like when we have the ring, like the coffee ring, it's just a little bit of the coffee. It's not like full blown coffee, but whatever you think. So it's totally up to you. So we just did our greeting, which I have the card sitting right next to me. It's too small for me to read on the screen. Can you believe that? And it says, oh, this one's on me. So if you would want to include a gift card, how cute would that be? So if you would want to put like a little gift card pocket in here or something like that, you could do that. Or if you were going to put cash in there or something like that. But how much fun to invite somebody to coffee and to, give them the incentive by sending a little something in the card with it. So I decided to stamp it in 5 spots. And you can see not only did I stamp off one time as I stamped the rings, but I actually did partial stamping as well, meaning they're slightly on and slightly off of the paper that's going to go onto the card. Now, you don't have to do that in all 4 corners. If you want to write a note and you want more white space, then just stamp the one in the middle, if you want to do that. And you can make it even lighter. You could use a much lighter brown as well. But I'm just gonna glue this down. So all I'm doing is lining that up with the score line and the edge of the actual latch fold there. And so that gives me really good spacing so that when I go to close that, I know that this white piece is going to be covered. So I kept it close to the edge of the DSP there. So I knew that that flap would come over. And so this is how the card is folding closed. Up to you whether or not you want to add in your trim or not. I felt like that was a good spot to put it. I did end up putting it on this card, and I actually liked the way that it looked with 2 strips versus 1. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about the trim. The trim is 80% jute, Jute, and 20% polyester. And if you have worked with jute trim in the past, it has a lot of fibrous sort of like material to it. So what I did was I made these samples days before I actually started doing the voiceover because we went out of town. So these cards, my samples, have had a chance to sit here for about 4 or 5 days, and they are still well secured with the Stampin' Seal Plus as the adhesive. So that I will tell you that much, okay? And that's with them just, in straight lines like this, right? Where it's like sitting directly on, the Stampin' Seal Plus. But here's what I would actually do. I always try to make sure that I'm using product that's available to you to buy. But many of you who watch and follow my videos have very robust craft rooms. And in those craft rooms, you may have a hot glue gun. And if you are comfortable using said hot glue gun, I would most likely secure these with my hot glue as opposed to Stampin' Seal Plus. That said, my Stampin' Seal Plus has held up really well with my samples. So I will leave that decision to you, but just know that with this being 80% jute trim, which has fabulous texture to it, it has a really cool look to it. It needs a really strong adhesive to hold it down because of the material, okay? So here you can see now when I put my rectangle on, I only have the adhesive on the one side. So I only have it on the left side where that left flap is. I'm making sure that I am positioning it enough, like kind of in the center between our two flap panels here, so that when I do close and latch, it's going to latch easily into that rectangle. Now, this rectangle layout, the way that I just put this down on the card, is horizontal. Okay, so it's a little bit more wide, right? There's a version that I do where it's vertical, and that did not hold as well, but in that version, I also used dimensional. So just something to be aware of. Now, I am going to overlap my coffee cups here. So just putting these down with a little bit of adhesive, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have the adhesive coming over on the edge there, because it's going to show a little bit when you open the inside of your card. Okay. And you can position it so that it doesn't do that if you don't want that. So one got glued directly to the rectangle. The other one is going to go up on dimensionals just to kind of give it a little bit of lift. And you can play with this and see, what combination you like. I know that the greeting was large, but I really wanted it that way. I wanted that really bold, large look because we have a lot of early espresso really shining through on this card. Okay. So this is the way that I ended up layering the two together, but it says, hello there, let's catch up. And on the inside, it says, this one's on me. So now what we're going to do is add our swirled dots, our adhesive back swirled dots. And again, this is a suite that can be found in the online exclusives section of the Stampin' Up website. Okay, so this suite is not printed somewhere in one of your catalogs. This is online only. And if you purchase the suite option, you're going to get the stamps, the dies, the embellishments that I'm using right here. You're going to get the trim. You're going to get the DSP. It comes with all of this pre-coordinated product. If you don't want to do all of the extras and you would rather do the bundle option, a bundle option with Latte Love is the stamps and the coordinating dies in this case. Now, did you see the way that I just latched that closed? So when we put our adhesive only on the one side of the rectangle there, we can take that other little flap and tuck it right behind. Is that not the cutest fold? It is the cutest fun fold, and I have been challenging myself in recent weeks to do some new or some different fun folds, and these are kind of all a different play on how you do that. But you just take that front rectangle there, you take your little flap and you tuck it right in. So these are the two versions of the card with the same exact designer series paper. You're just seeing side A and side B of that paper. Okay, so you see the two different versions. Total fabulous summer version of the card, total fabulous full coffee version of the card. So these are all suite products that you're looking at here, with the exception of the Nested Essentials rectangle die that I used as our mechanism for the front to put our little flap into. Okay. But now what I want to do is I want to show you some alternates, and we're not going to go through and remake the card completely again. What I did want to do is bring in the Coffee with Friends stamp set. Okay. So Coffee with Friends is a stamp set that we have had around for a little while. It is a cling stamp set, and it also has a coffee theme. I'm just folding these closed. I'm trying to look at my stamp set and my notes as I'm going into the next part. Okay, so here's the Coffee with Friends stamp set, and as you can see here, total coffee theme, and it will match flawlessly with this suite. So if this is one that is in your collection, this is the same exact fold, but I did make a few changes to this card. Okay, so I'm using different designer series paper. Do you see those partial images of the coffee cups? I just cut those out with the same die and glued them over the DSP. Okay, and I stamped the two girls on the bench in the center. The base on these is pecan pie cardstock as opposed to early espresso, but you can see the difference here. here with the early espresso on the front. And this is the version of the card where that rectangle on the front is vertical. And I used the dimensionals as opposed to a flat adhesive like our multi-purpose glue. And you could see that that latch wasn't as tight. It's a little bit more loose of a fold. That's what I'm trying to show there. So you could take the Coffee with Friends stamp set and you can still use all of your DSP embellishments. You can mix and match the stamps if you like. I tried to stick with Coffee with Friends for these two cards, for these two alternate cards, but you can see here on one version, I colored in the girls with Stampin' Blends, and in the other, I didn't. Oh, that's the one that says, let's get together soon. So I knew it was in there somewhere. So yeah, just so that you know which stamp set is which. So this would be a separate stamp set that is also listed in the annual catalog. But how beautifully did those mix and match with the Little Latte Suite? I absolutely love them. But let's get into the, what should I call it? I should call it our autumnal alternate idea for this set. And this one we are going to do together because I cannot get to pumpkin spice latte season fast enough. And you can leave me a comment and let me know, are you team pumpkin spice or no? And it's okay, whatever your answer is, it's okay. I understand. I am admittedly all about pumpkin spice, pumpkin everything in the fall, and fall is my favorite season. So we are going to do yet another mashup. Here are our 4 colors that we're going to use. We're going to use pumpkin pie, pecan pie, early espresso, and just a little hint of basic beige, just a hint. And I think you're going to love what we use it for. And we're going to mix and match these stamp sets. So we're going to be using the Autumn Leaves stamp set in coordination with our Latte Love stamp set. And instead of using the designer series paper, we're going to make our own. Okay. And this is a real testament to the way that things mix and match with Stampin' Up. It's one of my favorite cards, and I would love to hear in the comments of all 4 cards that you've seen today, or is it 5? It might be 5 cards. Of all 5 cards that you've seen today, which one is your favorite? Do you like the first 2, which are from the A Little Latte Suite? Do you like the second 2 that add in Coffee with Friends? Or do you really like the Autumn Leaves mashup with the Latte Love? I would love to know. So here what I'm doing is we're going to build our designer series paper essentially. Now, I have to admit to you guys, I used some scrap basic white that I had some adhesive left on the back of. So don't mind the stickiness factor as I'm stamping here. I'm taking pumpkin pie ink with this largest leaf in the Autumn Leaves stamp set. Autumn Leaves stamp set and the Coffee with Friends stamp set, both still available in the online store, and those 2 are actually shown in our annual catalog. Now here is Early Espresso, which is also the card base, the cardstock color as well, but I am taking Early Espresso, and that is the veining and the details of our leaves that we're stamping in here. So as you can see, I have a pattern here of top and bottom opposite corners for our leaves, both on the strip panel and on the full panel. The measurements are the same, you guys. It's just basic white paper basic white cardstock as opposed to DSP measurements, okay? So that's 4 by 5 1/4 and 2 inches by 5 1/4 that we're stamping on right now. Now, we're getting a little bit more into usage of the stamps from the set, and there is that mug, same version where we're looking at it from the top down, and we can stamp our insert right inside our mug. You could choose whatever, browns you either have on hand or, the coordinating colors. I am stamping both of my coffees in Early Espresso. I'm using the same pattern stamp for both. There's 2 different versions in our stamps. I'm bringing in Pecan Pie ink now. This is with the mid-sized or the medium-sized leaf. I believe this is the oak tree leaf, but please correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm stamping the largest leaf in Pumpkin Pie. I'm stamping the medium-sized leaf in Pecan Pie, but I'm still going to do the veining of that leaf in early espresso. There is a definite jump in color there, and you can still very clearly see the difference between the two. I actually really loved that look. I loved that look of the brown on brown. It was so beautiful. So on that very edge there, like you can't even really tell, but I kind of messed up and had to fix that stamp a little bit. So you'll get to see as I'm like pulling the whole card together there in the end. Okay, so as you can see, I'm repeating with my 2-inch panel everything that I'm doing with the larger panel. It's just a little bit tighter. And to get that DSP look, I'm really trying to fill in the white space. It's up to you. If you like that crisp white look against the leaves, stop here. Don't feel like you have to go any further. But for me, I love more is more. This splatter, this coffee splatter stamp, you guys, is so fabulous. So this is pecan pie, but it is stamped off one time before I stamp it to the card. Wow. I mean, to me, it makes this paper. And I think a lot of the time, this is the secret that the designers have, where there's actually like a lot of imagery or there's a lot of overlapping. And we can't always do that. Like we can't always, when we're recreating or stamping a background, overlap like this. But that splatter, oh my goodness, you can overlap to your heart's content. I mean, is that cool or what? I loved the way that turned out. Now, this is my natural tone Stampin' Blend in the darkest shade that we have. I think it's called like SU 100 or something like that. They come in combo packs under the natural tone Stampin' Blends, and it's the darkest combo that we have. And I just went around the circle because I noticed that there was a slight gap between the circle that you stamp inside the mug and then the rim of the mug. Don't feel like you have to fill it in. This is just one of those little optional steps that I wanted to do. Also, if you happen to have the Stampin' Right marker in early espresso, that would probably work just fine too. So whatever you guys want to do. And if you have a suggestion on this, or if you tried something different, leave it in the comments and share and let us know if you're comfortable doing that. But I loved the way that it looked once we kind of filled in the edges of that coffee cup. Now, I wanted to fill in my coffee mugs with my Stampin' Blends. I adore using my Stampin' Blends. I love this combination of the pumpkin pie blends in combination with the actual ink colors when we stamped our background too. So it has a little bit of just the kind of the same way that we mix textures. We're just sort of mixing our color media here, and I just think that it's so cool. So you'll have to let me know what you think of these coffee stamps. I just think that they are the coolest stamps in the world. And let me give you a little heads up that wait until you see the upcoming catalog. Oh my goodness. We have our September to December 2024 mini catalog coming out. Demonstrators can pre-order from it starting tomorrow, August 6th, 2024. If you join Stampin' Up between August 6th and September, I think it's 4th in that pre-order period, you can actually pre-order as part of your starter kit. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. But I'm telling you, if you are a holiday person, oh my goodness. Oh, you guys, so this is where I discovered this wasn't a 4x5 1/4 inch panel. This is a 5.5 by 4 1/4 inch panel. So, or it might have been 4 1/8 actually. It was much more narrow than I thought. So this way you can get a look at what it looks like. At number one, it's the same pattern instead of two different patterns, stamped pattern versus DSP pattern. And that was like full imagery on the inside there. So, and of course, early espresso is our outside. Early espresso, I should say, let me repeat, is our outside cardstock color. So here I'm stamping our third panel that's going to be on at least the outside of the card in the same exact, pattern that I stamped the other two. I actually forgot to stamp this one. Can you believe that? I forgot to stamp this panel. So again, measurements are the same. Just make sure you have the 3 panels cut, but I am just repeating the exact same process that I just did for the rest of this. But the thing I think that I really loved about this card was that instead of doing 3 different patterns, it was the same consistently all across this latch fold. And I'm really glad that I did take the time to show this to you. But like I was teasing with our upcoming mini catalog, it's going to be available to customers in September. Demonstrators can start pre-ordering from it tomorrow or August 6th, if I happen to be posting this on August 6th, which may be a very real possibility. And like I said, if you want information on how to purchase the starter kit, you can actually put pre-order items right inside your starter kit. There are a few other things that I want to tell you, but before I do that, let me show you this. So this is our mug stamp that has that coordinating die that didn't fit with the DSP, but it does fit this. I do not need the coordinating die for this card. There is a fill stamp for this coffee mug. Is that the coolest thing? I mean, that's like the magic of stamping. Now here is a steam stamp. This is like the steam that is coming up out of your piping hot coffee. And I thought, what color could I use for the steam? And like my go-to thing is always something like pool party or something like that. And I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to use basic beige. If you have been following me in the last few weeks, I have been talking nonstop about basic beige. And I was like, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use basic beige here. So we are actually going to stamp off one time. And it's just like a shadow. Can you see how light it is even on the scrap paper? So it doesn't look like a lot, but it is there. If you look at it in person, I'm telling you, it looks like steam. It is just the coolest thing. Okay, so now I'm coming in with my pumpkin pie dark Stampin' blend, and there is some art the designer put on this particular mug that had like the kind of the colors coming in from the side, or it had some lines coming in from the side. So I just repeated that with the Stampin' blend, and then I colored the lighter pumpkin pie in the middle. So with our combos, there's a light and a dark of each color when you buy a combo pack in a particular color. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm just mixing and matching those two. And then I'm coming back around and I'm coloring on the inside of the mug as well. And I was worried that when I did this, that it was going to erase the basic beige steam where it's coming up out of the mug, and it did not. You can still see it. So it looks really cool. Now, again, this rectangle is a vertical as opposed to horizontal. So just know that if you choose this option, it's still going to latch closed, right? Just make sure your positioning is right. It's still going to latch closed, but it's not as snug of a latch as it is if you would have the rectangle horizontal. So just that said, and again, make sure you're putting your adhesive strategically only on the left side of that front rectangle that's going to become the holder for your latch, okay? So here, there is a set of dies, the Autumn Leaves dies in our annual catalog. It's a returning favorite from last year, and I cut I think these are the maple leaf, right? Are these the maple leaves? I cut these out in pumpkin pie cardstock, and I'm just trying to figure out where I wanted to put them. And I thought they showed up so beautifully against the early espresso that I decided to put them on the inside flap. Here is what I would change if I was filming this again. I love these leaves right here. Okay, so I'm not saying don't do that, but I should have put my little greeting on that inside flap, and I could have put my leaves on the other side. Wouldn't that have just been so cool? So that didn't occur to me until after the fact. So sometimes these things they come to mind as you go along. So just something to, note for all of you. So if you want to cover up, what you've stamped, like your stamped background, then it's no problem. But if you don't want to cover up that beautiful stamped background, then put it on the little back of that flap, and it would be just as adorable. It would be so cute. And if you do want to put some DSP on that inside panel, go for it. Just use the same measurement that you do for the outside. So it would still be 2 by 5 1/4 inch. Okay. And so I'm just going to glue this right down to the regular part of my panel where I have been putting it. So I was consistent. We can say that at least. And you're definitely going to want to see our holiday mini catalog because there is something to do with coffee in it and you're going to want to see it. And it's so beautiful. And oh my gosh, I cannot wait to order it because it's going to match back to all of this fabulously. And I just love this theme. I love working with this theme. So let me know what you think of these cards. Now, here's a few other things that we have going on that I did not tell you. So if you are still here at this level of the video with me, thank you. We have an annual designer series paper sale starting tomorrow, August 6th, and runs through August 31st, 2024. It's 15% off of select annual catalog designer series papers, which means the online exclusive papers are not included. So my timing on this video wasn't the best, but there are fabulous designer series papers from the annual catalog that you can save 15% off from August 6th to 31st. If you earned bonus days coupons in July, you can redeem them all through the month of August. So keep that in mind. Also, shout outs to my paper pumpkin friends. Do not miss the August kit. Oh my gosh, wait until you see. It is so fabulous. There's a bonus stamp set. There's a fun fold that's going to be easy to do. There's rose gold accents. I'm going to have details in the comments of this video. And don't forget to download the project sheet so you too can make this fun latch fold. Thank you, and I will see you guys in the next video.